Good morning or afternoon. I guess it depends on when you're watching this. So today I'm going to teach you how to make roti. So I'm going to be using my mixer. I have done it by hand for many years. I just find that it's easier with a mixer. Don't come for me. The recipe is going to make 6 large or 8, I guess, medium-sized ones. It calls for 3 cups of flour, 2, 3, 1 teaspoon of instant yeast. Sprinkle that in there. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 teaspoon of sugar to activate the yeast. 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm putting in some ghee. You can put in butter, ghee, whatever you feel like. Tablespoon. Put that in there. Another. And mix that up. Okay, so all the ingredients are in there, and I'm going to start mixing that up. I want to have like the ghee or butter fully incorporated into the flour before we put the warm water. It becomes crumbly a little bit, and that's what you want. You don't want chunks of butter because you want it to be fully incorporated so that it's evenly distributed. Okay, so now that it's fully incorporated, you can see it's kind of crumbly. I'm going to add 1 1/4 cup of warm water. So I have that here, and I'm just going to mix it up a little bit first with my hand, and then I'll put it into my mixer to do the final touches. So you can see there. You may be wondering why I make roti on a regular basis. And a little story time, I guess I could say, is when I grew up in a place called Toronto, Ontario. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but if you are, it's very multicultural city. And the area that I grew up in was very Caribbean based. It was Keele and Eglinton area. School that I went to, I guess the majority of the people that were there were Caribbean people, different ethnic backgrounds. So I grew up eating this stuff on a regular basis. This was like a staple food for me. Since I grew up with all that stuff, I really love eating it, making it, and all that. Maybe I don't even need my mixer. um, so that's why I make this regularly. It's kind of like in my blood almost, but not really. I grew up eating roti, doubles, Jamaican food, all that kind of stuff. And because I'm just a foodie in general, I love cooking for people, friends, and family. I love what it's like my I feel like it's like my love language. Okay, now that it's fully mixed, I'll show you what it should kind of look like and how it, this is the kind of texture you should be looking for. Because you have to keep it warm and let it rise for about an hour. I'm going to add a little bit of oil so that it doesn't dry up. Just go like that. Because once it lifts, you don't want it to dry up like a bread. It's not bread. So I'll put that there. Grab the roti dough, put that in there. I'll just put a little bit on my hand just so that it rises properly. And then I'm going to cover it and put it on my stove on my warmer on 1. If you have a warmer, just add it to 1 and let it sit there for about an hour and a half. It just has a double in size. If you don't have a warmer on your stove, that's okay. Just put your oven on at like maybe 300. Let it heat and then put it on top of your stove so that you can have that heat coming there. It just either way. And if you don't have that and you don't want to do that, you can still just put it to the side. You may just have to let it sit for a little longer. to rise. Okay, so I'm going to put some saran wrap on it to keep the heat in. You can add a cloth if you want. Some people put a wet towel of some sort to keep the moisture. I just like using this. It keeps all the heat and everything inside there, and then I'm going to put it on my stove. 1 hour has passed. As you can see, it has doubled in size. Cover off the side. Okay, so we're going to punch it, get all the air out, pick it up, see how it's like very soft. That's what you want. Put that to the side. Now I'm going to cut this in 6 even pieces because I want to make 6 large roti. So I'm going to do roughly half like this, and then I'm going to cut 3 on each side. So there, looks about even. 3, and then do another 3. There. Put them in like little balls. Go around like that. Okay. So now I'm going to add the dhal inside 3 of these balls. So what you do is you kind of flatten the outsides of it, not so much the middle, because when we put the stuff inside, we don't want it to break open. So we are thinning out the outside so that we can put it kind of like in a pocket in the middle here. Kind of like that. Now I'm going to grab a ball that we made of the dhal inside. I'm going to kind of pull it over like that. That's why I was saying on the outsides to kind of make it thing. And then we just kind of smush it together like this. And smush it over together like this. Kind of bring it together and close it off so that the stuff doesn't come outside. And see, it's on the inside. So now what I can do is I can kind of spread the stuff around so that we know that once we do roll it out, that the dhal will be evenly distributed on the inside. And then I put it to the side. I do that for the next one. Kind of put that in there. You can really push it in if you want. And then pull it over. It's up to you. And you close it nicely. This takes a little bit of practice, but you can get there. And then bring it together. Kind of pinch it so it kind of closes up. You can circle that around again. Flatten it out so that whenever you are going to be rolling it, it's kind of evenly distributed. And then we put to the side. Added with the dhal inside. These 3 have not. I'm going to cover it now. Let it rise for a little bit while I get the tawa and everything else ready. So here's my cast iron tawa. I got this on Amazon. Probably one of my most favorite things that I bought on Amazon. It's heavy because it is cast iron. And I'm going to put that on my stove and put it on 4. I don't like my rotis to be too kind of burnt, those little pieces. Put a little bit of flour on there. Use a rolling pin. Now this rolling pin actually belonged to my grandmother. My grandmother got this as a wedding gift. This is probably like 75 to 80 years old because she would have been married quite young. So I'm keeping this in the family. It works really great. And then we're just going to start rolling slowly because we don't want it to break. We're going to slowly start rolling it out. This took me some time to actually grasp how to do this properly. So satisfying though when you get it so thin and so nice. Might take some time for you, and that's okay. It took time for me too. We're going to try to roll it almost like paper thin, because you also don't want it to burst. And that was the reason why in the other video, when I was making this, you want to make sure that all of the peas are cooked enough, because if they're not, they will burst. And I mean, it's not a big deal. You just want to try to make it not burst. You just keep rolling it gently. You don't want to push too much, because if you push too much, then it's just going to come out. My son bought me this. It's probably one of my favorite gifts as well. He bought me the mat so that I could see how big my rotis could be. My other son bought me the wooden, I can't remember what it's called, to flip the roti. Okay, so we're going to add some oil to the tawa. And then we're going to get the roti, which is nice and thin. Put it on the tawa. Covers the whole tawa, which is great. Then I'm going to grab some more oil and drizzle it on. Because we're going to be flipping this over a couple of times, and we don't want it to be dry. So that's good. This is the contraption that I was talking about, that flipper. I don't remember what it's called. Maybe someone in the comments can let me know what this is called, but it's a game changer. My son bought this for me for Christmas. I was so excited. This was something I really wanted. Okay, so let's flip this. Perfect. We're going to add some more oil to the top. I'm going to flip it again. There. Oh, that's why it's not actually puffing. There we go. See how it's puffing? Flip that over again. And then I'm going to put it in my container to sweat. Add that to the container there. Okay, so now it's time to put the roti and the curry chicken together. Here's the Dhalpourie. It's very large. Grab some of this delicious curry chicken. Put it in the middle. This is how I grew up eating curry chicken roti. You gotta get rid of that pimento. Don't want to be biting into that. And get a little bit more in there. And then you fold it over like a little pocket. And then that is the roti that I grew up eating. I'm just going to fold it like this. Oops. And there you have it. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the roti in half just to show you what it looks like on the inside. But disclaimer, that is not how you eat it. You eat it whole. But just take a look at that. Look how juicy and delicious that roti looks. Oh my God, take a bite. Because you know the first bite's always for you.